Hello, hello. Can you hear us? I can hear us.
I can't hear you.
Yours works.
I can hear you.
Yes. Wow, it worked canceling some of the other talks. Nice. So welcome, we're going to show you some comic strips. Is that okay? Yeah? We're going to show you how agile fails. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So let's just do a quick survey. So how many developers are here? Oh, shit. We usually talk to like agile people, right? So I hope you can relate to much of this. Any architects? Yeah? Any scrum masters? Yes.
So the most important role of all, any managers here? I'm sorry for you guys.
Engineering managers. My ass, right? Okay, so...
okay, let's start.
Let's start, okay. Yeah. So we're gonna do two things now. We're gonna read off some comic strips. We're gonna read the text, and we use a font called Comic Sans. And that's okay, right? Because we make comic strips. And you can also use it if you're a school teacher, but if not, never use that font. We're gonna read off of the screen, and then we're gonna introduce ourselves as well. So, there's a manager here, right? What's he saying?
Yeah, so I have good news for you. Now's the time for us to become agile and embark on the agile journey.
We've been asking for this for years, the developer says. What has changed?
Yeah, so I managed to convince executive management that once we become agile, we can finally start delivering the projects within the initial agreed budget, timeline, and scope.
And as you all know, that ain't never gonna happen.
That's not gonna work,
right?
No.
Those three, that's the iron triangle, right, in project management. When we do software development or any development, we're never gonna meet all those three. In Agile, we want to keep the scope variable, right? We still meet a deadline, we still meet a budget, or try to, but the scope is what we adjust as we get wiser. Yeah, so if anyone says there are no deadlines or budgets in Agile, they're lying. Okay?
Okay, so here's your favorite slide, the one where you get to talk about yourself.
Now you gotta listen. This is me, okay? This is my name. My name is Luxshan. I'm the writer in this thing we got going on, so I'm the agile nerd, okay? And I'm the writer, and Mikkel does something else, he'll tell you. I work as an independent agile consultant. There are too many of us, I know, sorry. So I do this type of work. Held different agile roles the last 13 years, like agile release train, what's it called? A release train engineer and product owner and so on. Have a software engineering background, but I have to say, I've never been paid to actually code, so sorry. My mission in life is to expose what happens when all this agile stuff meets reality, and if we can use humor to do it, it's very good. Who are you, Mikkel?
Yeah. So my name is Mikkel. I'm the cartoonist, so I'm the person that draws the comics and try to make it understandable for people, sort of about communication. I work with the user experience in a company called Vestas. We do wind turbines, done that for a couple of years. I have a background in architecture, so real architecture, not hot air architecture. Yeah. These guys, right? In the ivory tower? Not those guys. So I did bricks, buildings, glass, and stuff like that. Real stuff.
Not just PowerPoints.
Oh.
Okay.
So I've enjoyed doing user experience for 20 plus years, and through that journey, I've come to learn that we need to cut the bullshit. So you see so much BS, so much hot air. Let's cut through that, and we do that through exposing it in the books.
Yes. We are very proud, right? Well, how many followers do we have now? Like 76.
76.
Yeah, it's a big number, but it's hard-working professional followers because it equals 76 million teenagers on TikTok. So it's a big. You can do that conversion. It's
perfectly legal. Yeah. So yeah, we made some books. You can buy them.
Very good company Christmas gift, I have to say.
Okay, so let's start. Now the fun is over. Now we really need to talk about something is not working. It's clearly not working. We've been doing this for 20 years, or
13.
13. Something is not working. So we got to articulate our mistakes and what's going wrong, so we can learn from them. And we do that. Our approach, it's by laughing. You've done that already, so we are halfway there. Reflecting. So why is it that we're laughing? There's something that's hurting in order to improve.
You could probably make this into like a model, like a cycle or something like that.
We can sell that as a framework.
Certifications. Yes. Let's do that.
Okay. So we're going to talk about work through some different roles in this agile setup.
But what's the first thing that happens?
The first thing that happens when you start on the agile journey.
Let's look at that. The manager buys some boxes, right?
Oh yes, the Scrum T-shirts.
Yeah. Have you seen this? The manager buys so many boxes of Scrum T-shirts, and they're very tight. Yeah.
One size fits all.
Not just tight on me, on you as well, right? And some of them says, "I love safe." Have you seen those? They don't even have the hole for the head, so it's crazy.
So after he bought these boxes of T-shirts, what's going to happen?
They get in some external consultants, and this was fun before I became one. But let's just pretend we're still working together internally. Okay.
You still have your integrity left and all that.
Yes. So they come. The consultants come in, right? And they say, "We're with the consultancy firm Agile BS, and here's our plan for your agile transformation." I have to ask, can we just go back? Do you know what Agile BS stands for? Agile Business Solutions. Okay. Yeah. So here they are. They're presenting.
So the plan for agile transformation. Yeah.
First, to really understand your organization, we'll observe and analyze your department for some time. Based on the analysis, we'll design and describe the transformation effort. Following, we'll implement new agile processes.
And lastly, we'll test how the transformation works and integrate it with current processes across the organization. We expect the full transformation to take a couple of years. And that image looks awfully recognizable, right? Sort of
You don't have to be a Scrum Master to see that this is a waterfall. Okay? So for some reason, many companies, when they want to go agile, they take a waterfall approach to going agile. That's just weird, right? What you should do instead is, of course, take an agile approach to going agile. So instead of having all this done and magically say all our 100 teams are now Scrum teams or Kanban teams, let's try to figure out for one product or one team or a value stream and make that go agile and see if agile even works for us before just splushing it everywhere. So take an agile approach to going agile. Yeah? Makes sense?
That sounds reasonable, yeah.
Sounds intuitive, doesn't it?
Let's talk about PowerPoints. So besides higher customer satisfaction, going agile generally increases employee engagement.
Yes, becoming part of self-managing teams is what will really make a difference. And since it's on a PowerPoint, it must be true, right?
Yes.
Then the developer has a question.
Yeah, well, we just want to code.
Just tell us what to do and we'll figure out how.
No, you are empowered and self-managing now.
You can't waste your time coding, okay? I hope you don't feel like this back at your companies, right? So the question is, the point is, when you go agile, you get a lot of meetings, right?
Oh,
yeah. Do you feel like you have many meetings? Yeah? No? Oh, not in Sweden. Okay, cool. But the thing is, it's not the agile events that's the problem, because they're there to plan or to inspect. Are we doing the right thing? It's all the other meetings, right? If we have these scaled meetings, department meetings, budget meetings, status meeting, reporting meetings.
We love those.
We've got to get rid of those and then just keep the Scrum events. That should be enough, right? Then talk to the other teams as you need. Okay, managers, listen to that. Yes.
So that's a manager. Let's talk a little bit about.
They have a plan. They have a plan, and it's totally unrealistic, right? So, yeah.
I really believe in empowering you guys as a Scrum team, and I fully support you in self-organizing. So don't ask me how to do things. I completely trust you to make all the right decisions in your daily work.
Developer has a question, of course, but since you don't really understand our architectural discussions and technical dilemmas, how would you make those decisions anyways?
Come with me, Luxshan. I just made a difference that I can make.
Yeah. So the thing is, we want teams to make as many decisions as possible, because that's what enables flow and autonomy and all of these good things. That's when we can deliver value fast. And the technical decision making is with the teams anyway, right? Because the managers they don't really know much about that anyway, so it's up to the team. But what we want them to also pass on is non-technical decision making, right? Prioritization or stakeholder management or going across silos to talk to someone else. The teams can also do this, right? Because of course it's easy to pass on the technical stuff, but also the non-technical stuff.
Come on, team, work faster.
Okay,
manager.
Mikkel, can I have a word with you? I'm an agile coach. So when we work agile, we don't pressure our teams to run faster. It's not sustainable, motivational, nor the management approach that we want.
No?
No. Instead, we want to deliver more value frequently to the customer.
Ah, I get it. Come on, team, add more value. That's easy.
We had a whole row of managers over here somewhere. So the point here is we can work agile and still take like this traditional approach to management, right? It's with the whip and the carrot and all that stuff. We don't want that. What managers need to understand is that utilization, it doesn't have to be 100%. You don't have to look busy to be busy. So when we do planning, we only fill up around 70 or 80% of our capacity. Because then when something unforeseen happens, you have some wiggle room to actually manage that instead of being totally committed to your full capacity. All simulations and real-life examples show this. You can see it with cars on the motorway. If an accident happens, everything just clogs up unless you have some room, right? Around 70%. Yes. So.
Okay, so I'm the developer now.
Okay.
If I can get this to work. There we go. So therefore, I'd really like to go on that Kubernetes course.
Sorry, the manager says, but we don't have the budget for courses this year. Couldn't you learn it from some of the other developers instead?
It's worth a shot, I guess. So a little bit later.
How come, Mikkel, that your velocity last sprint was only 12 when it's usually around 20?
Yeah, and now I'm a Scrum Master. So because we invested some time in pair programming and mob programming.
Get it back up to 20 this sprint, and don't waste your time sharing knowledge. It slows down your deliveries. What's the problem here? The thing is, nobody has budgets anymore, right, for courses or anything, right? So we can just share it across the organization, across the team. But it will have an effect on how much you can actually deliver because you're investing in sharing knowledge. That's the first point. And the second point is a manager shouldn't worry about velocity. Okay, that's a number for the team to look at, for the Scrum Master to fix things so it doesn't fluctuate too much, and for the product owner to kind of forecast what do we think we can deliver. Velocity is not for anyone outside the team.
But we're happy that at least someone had budgets for sending you guys to Øredev. So that's
Yes.
Thanks for that.
Yes.
So I'm the boss, the big boss. It's going really, really well with our Agile initiative, and we can all be proud.
I'm a small manager talking to the big manager. So we now have Scrum and Kanban teams running as agile release trains, but shouldn't we change as managers as well?
No, you've misunderstood something. Agile is all about the teams. And since we're not part of teams, it got nothing to do with us. So let's talk about something more important, the annual budgeting process.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if people
we
are...
love, Excel sheet.
I could hear people, I don't know if it was a laugh, it was a cry, or it was... But I hope it's a laugh. So the thing is, managers are not evil. Well, some managers are, of course, they are. That's why they got the job, right? But they're within a system. So we need to fix the system. So if we have this yearly budget process where you basically lock the iron triangle, scope, timeline, and budget, or whatever resources, then it's difficult to really empower a team to do whatever the customer wants because somebody already committed their full capacity, right, at the full budget. So let's fix the system instead. So we do this gradually, like once a quarter or monthly or a PI or whatever you want to call it. Yeah? They're not that evil, but they're a dilemma, aren't they?
It's hard being a manager, right? So this is a manager, and we've got the boss saying, get in control. And we've got the team saying, empower us. So who's going to shoot first?
I know who it is. Someone's going to shoot, right? So they're in the middle, in this frozen middle. Can't really do anything. We don't have the answer to this.
No. So we can try to help management in this agile journey. So we can, first of all, we can understand or try to understand what's the reason for going agile.
But is it to meet the iron triangle? Is it to have happier employees? Is it to be able to attract talent? What's the actual reason for going agile?
And then we also need to agree with the management what this empowerment means. So give us some decision power.
It can be different from one team to another in the same organization. Maybe some teams can actually solve their conflicts on their own or make their actual prioritization on their own, while others need help from a manager. So figure out what it means with your immediate manager.
Yeah, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's something about talking to each other. I know that's hard.
Yes, especially for developers.
Yeah. And then let's clarify what the responsibility split between the management and the agile roles is. So who gets to take what decisions?
For instance, Scrum Master and manager, they can have a lot of overlap. So if there's a conflict in the team, is it the Scrum Master or the manager? Have those talks and agree on that. There are different tools, delegation poker, and so on to do that stuff.
Yeah, and I know this sounds like a bit of a stretch, but believe it or not, management is actually here to help us.
So this is a point we just put in case there are managers here. So now, now we said it, and we can move on. Should we ask for questions in the end, or no? I think we should do it.
Let's do questions in the end.
Okay.
So let's talk about this person.
The Scrum Master.
The Scrum Master.
You know what happens when you get Scrum Masters? Are there any Scrum Masters here? No, we're not going to admit it, but yeah. You take all the project managers. Any project managers? Project managers? One project manager left, two, yeah, good, 3, 4, yeah, they're here. Yes, I know. So what happens is a company wants to go agile, then they take all the project managers, put them in a room, and then they ask them, oh, dear project managers, we're going to work agile, there's no role for you anymore. So who of you like products and who like people? Right? And the ones who say they like products, they become product owners. Those who think they like people become Scrum Masters. And then this happens.
So as a start of our Scrum journey, we'll kick off today with this new morning meeting called a daily Scrum. John, why don't you start?
Okay, I'll start. Yeah. So as our sprint goal is to create a service for retrieving historical data, I'm setting up a microservice template, but I'm stuck.
Wait.
Okay.
I'd like you to describe how many hours you spent on that story so far and how many hours are remaining.
Okay, but Mikkel, I don't think we're supposed to.
Don't worry, as long as we're standing up, we're doing it right.
Yeah?
And it is easy to measure progress in hours, isn't it?
I guess it is, but it's really progress, right? You still burn a lot of hours and then not really deliver any value. But the purpose of this meeting, the daily Scrum, is to actually inspect the plan you made for the sprint, right? Is the plan still valid towards your sprint goal, which might lead to a product goal and so on? And you can bring up impediments that keep you from working that direction, but all the meetings in Scrum are to inspect or plan. Okay, so this one is for inspecting your plan. Yeah, you can ask the 3 questions, or you can sing a song, do whatever, as long as you inspect.
Okay, Luxshan. So
Yes?
congratulations on your new Scrum Master certification.
Thank you.
How's it going with the teams?
Well, pretty good actually. Even though we never have a sprint goal, the PO doesn't want sprint reviews. The developers hate doing sprint retrospectives.
Oh, sorry, that's going too fast.
I really feel we're getting into the agile spirit.
So what are you doing, Luxshan?
We agreed to call it Kanban.
So that's the easy version of Scrum, isn't it?
Yes, it's just a board, right? So the thing is, don't do Kanban just because Scrum is difficult, right? Figure out why Scrum is difficult, because Kanban is like a whole method in itself. It's not just a board, it's a way of analyzing how the flow is, and you pull in work when you have capacity, and it's like a whole thing. You don't just do it because Scrum is difficult. Figure out why you can't lock down your scope for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever your period is of a sprint. And then make a conscious decision to go Kanban because you have a lot of operations or something like that, like a very agile context. Don't just do it because it's difficult. To be able to manage all of this, we need someone who can manage this. Right? Who's that?
It's a tough role being a Scrum Master. And we need this guy. Right? Someone who's been to war, gotten the scars from it, smokes a cigar, wearing cool sunglasses. Someone that's really going to stand up for the team.
But what type of Scrum Master is it that organizations actually hire?
This one. So, straight out of university.
That's the most evil.
If you're lucky.
It's the most evil applause I ever heard. That's Joanne. Oh, well. But the thing is, the point here is that companies think that the Scrum Master role is a junior role. Right? They think it's a junior role. It's just about calling in for meetings, right?
It's a master of ceremonies.
We can have a student helper do that, or someone straight out of school, but it's pretty senior, right? Because your accountability is that the team works as effectively as possible. And how are you going to manage a group of 6 really angry developers if you're totally new into this? Sorry? Well, yeah.
Good luck on that.
We're trying to get rid of the managers, right? So, okay. So the thing is, if you have senior Scrum Masters who've been part of team before, then they would understand that it's not just about calling in for meetings. It's all about not just facilitation, but also mentoring, coaching, change management, team dynamics, psychology, all of this stuff, which a manager also takes care of. But if you have a Scrum Master and we have a manager, then there's going to be some overlap. So figure out how to split it. Don't split it so the Scrum Master only calls in for meetings. That's just a waste, okay?
But it seems like we need to help this poor Scrum Master a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So as a developer or employee, how can we help the Scrum Masters? So we can educate the organization on the different stances of a Scrum Master. And what is a Scrum Master stance?
Stance is like a position you take in your job, like a discipline. It could be coaching, it could be advising or teaching, or being a change agent. It's like a discipline of your job. Yeah.
And then we can empower and urge the Scrum Master to look beyond their own teams and out into the organization, so we can remove the systemic and organizational impediments.
For instance, if your team always has a dependency to the SAP team or the data warehouse team, other teams probably also have that dependency. So why don't we do something about it, so we don't waste our time waiting for those guys? Right? So what systems can we create to share some of their knowledge and competencies with all the feature teams? So having talks and discussions and provocations like that, I think they can do.
We might need to look into some kind of split, so the Scrum Master can develop the team and individuals, and the line manager can sort of increase.
I think you need to get a
little bit closer.
I think.
Is it? Is this all right? This is good. Better. This is good. Okay. Fine.
They just want you to shut up.
So nobody's heard a word what I've said. So.
No. So that type of split is a potential way of doing it. I think we need to move on because. But on the other hand, we're the last one, so we're going to just go on forever. We don't care. We're finished when we're finished. Okay.
So this is a team, the guys that actually do the job, the work.
Yeah. So here's the manager talking to a team. Too often, dear team, our other teams are dependent on you guys implementing changes in your platform before they can deliver their features. Your team is a bottleneck. Is anyone working in a platform team? Yeah. People are dependent on you guys, right?
Bottlenecks.
But here's how to fix it.
Okay.
Therefore, we'll disperse you all out into the other teams, so your capabilities will be built into all teams, and the dependencies will disappear.
So a little bit later.
So Mikkel, and you're from another team, right? So Mikkel, how's it going with not waiting for the platform team?
Well, now the bottleneck is within our teams.
Yeah. So the thing is, if we have a platform team and we want to build those competencies with the other teams, just spreading people out is not going to fix it. Because then they're just going to sit there and do the work they've always done, but on their own now, right? So we need someone to facilitate, typically a Scrum Master or the rest of the team, to facilitate that the knowledge is shared through pair programming or mob programming or collective refinement or whatever. Yeah. Invest in it.
Okay, team. So I'm the manager. Here's this epic that I want you guys to deliver.
Thank you, Mikkel. I'm a PO. We'll look into it at our next refinement session. Yeah, we're back. We've estimated the epic to be a total of 21 story points.
I didn't ask you to estimate it. It's already been estimated by others a year ago.
Well, their estimate isn't valid for our team. Only the ones who'll do the work should estimate it.
I don't care about your principles. You have a budget of 80 hours to deliver the epic.
But that's definitely not enough for us.
Just create some technical debt. As you call it, right?
So what we remember with the iron triangle, the scope is what we keep variable, right? In Agile, it's not the quality, it's the scope. So what happens if we follow the manager's guidance?
We end up with a nice shiny boat like this, right? You can see the PO, he's happy. He's got all the shiny, nice features on top.
Yeah.
Whatever, radars and all that. But the developers, they're struggling, right?
We want to build in quality from the beginning in everything we do, in the form of non-functional requirements, for instance. But the thing is, sometimes the PO can't really see it, right? So it's very much up to developers to communicate what the problem is here. More about the PO in a couple of slides.
Yeah, so this is about teams, developers talking to end users, right?
But they can just go and talk to them.
It's pretty simple, yeah. Should be, at least. But this is how it really looks, right? So we've got all these gatekeepers between the developer and the end user. I'm even in there, you can see. Third from the left, comfortably far away from the end user. So,
and you know, we want this for developers to understand how the products are used, so they can challenge when the PO comes back with the prioritized backlog. They can kind of challenge that, and just go talk to the end users, especially if they're internal. Right, then it's even more easy. But not all developers should talk to end users.
No. But you know who those guys are.
Yes.
But believe it or not, end users are actually quite happy to be heard, and they love to talk about this stuff.
Yes.
So here's a developer.
Yes, the developer is trying to solve a complex problem. How we get these two boxes, the box and the circle, to meet each other. Yeah, if he goes over here and creates a module over here, or a function here, then maybe they could... no, he's almost there. He almost has it now.
Hey, Dave, your other team needs your help.
Okay. I need to context switch a lot. So, we want developers to be part of one team. Anyone part of more than one team? Yes. Usually, it works well if you're just part of one, and then the team grows together and gets to know each other, and they get a velocity and predictability and all that stuff. The problem is, if all the team members feel like this, then we end up with a team experiencing their lives like this. The team cognitive load, right? So how much stuff should they have in their head? And then the manager comes by and says, team, you now also own our integration platform, cloud strategy, and clean code initiative. We expect you to master origami with your eyes closed. Yeah. So this is all about getting the priorities set, right? So you don't have to juggle a lot of knowledge at the same time.
So I'm so happy that both management and our customers understand the importance of working agile when the domain is so complex.
Yeah, and product owner agrees. Yes, moving away from the enormous requirement specification phase up front has really helped us adapt as we get wiser.
And here comes the architect. Hi, guys.
Hi, Alan. Where you been the last couple of weeks?
At home, making our target architecture. Here.
So the thing is, for some reason, everyone understands that business requirements, they cannot be totally waterfall, right? We need to learn what they are as we go. But for some reason, at least in our experience, the technical requirements should be totally, fully defined from the front, from the beginning. Right? We expect the architect to come with the truth, the target architecture that we all should follow. But if that happens, we end up with the picture that you saw before, with the architects sitting up here in the ivory tower. So what we want is for architects to also make these more evolvable, evolutionary architectures and build them together with the teams, right? Instead of dreaming something magical up in their tower.
So this is for you, managers. How can we actually help the developers? So first of all, let's try to free them from as many meetings as absolutely possible.
Do you agree? Okay, good.
Only slightly, I can hear.
Slightly, yeah.
Urge them to share the knowledge through collective refinement and whatever kind of social programming we've got.
And not just within the team, but across teams as well. Yeah.
And then we enable them to go to visit and talk to the end users.
This will also free up time from the product owner, who doesn't have to be a bottleneck and who can start thinking about product strategic stuff, like where should we go with the product. Should we talk about the product owner?
Let's talk about the product owner.
Any product owners here? Yes.
You know why he looks so sad? He's
Why?
not owning a product.
He can't make any decisions, huh?
So this is a typical product owner, right? The bridge between
Yes.
the business and the IT.
So we have these two silos, and we fix it with a product owner. Everything solved.
Easy.
Not really. Let's look at some of the challenges.
So it's so great to have someone from the business side take up the PO role.
Thank you, Mikkel. I'm also really happy to get closer to you guys. It's all about bridging the gap between the business and you engineers, so we can become one team.
Great, let's get started. And then the developer has a question, of course. Yeah, so should we prepare our backend for future vertical scaling, or should our focus rather be on normalizing the data for improving the performance? Yeah, and we're missing some non-functional requirements.
And what the business PO hears is... ding dong ding. I don't know how... web dings. Wing
But these
ding.
developers, they talk in a special language, right?
But it's not the PO's fault that he or she doesn't understand it. The developers should speak in a human language. You guys should speak in a human language, right? Because if you don't communicate your technical needs in the form of how does it affect the end user, like what non-functional requirements are not going to be met, is the performance going to be very bad, or availability or something like that, then you'll never reduce the technical depth that you have, because it's never going to be prioritized in the backlog, okay? And nobody's going to pay for it. So it's very important that developers speak human language to POs. Yeah, there could be other challenges. I was a PO once, and this is really how I felt.
Okay, so it seems that we can only deliver one or two of the two stories we expected this sprint. So should we just follow the backlog priority and take the top one, Luxshan?
Let me get back to you on that. Then I talk to my boss. Should we prioritize this story or that story?
Just a minute, let me get back to you on that. And then I talk to my boss, the big boss. So should we prioritize this story or that story?
Oh, what's the story? What is this? Then the PO goes back to the developer. No, please take the next one in the backlog.
Oh, okay. How come?
Let me get back to you on that. So I think the most important role here to enable agility with teams is the product owner. It's not the Scrum Master, it's the product owner. Because an empowered product owner can move the team, steer the team in the right direction by prioritizing the backlog, right? By talking to stakeholders and customers, end users and whatnot. If they're not empowered, it's going to be very slowly to steer. Then you're not really going to be that adaptable.
So it's something about the stakeholders, right?
Yeah.
So here's a customer asking the PO. So could you add a view of the historical performance to the application?
Great suggestion, Mikkel. Let me talk to my immediate internal stakeholder group and get back to you. And then I go. Yeah.
It's a big group you've got there, right?
It's galactically big.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So the thing is, as product owners, we have many stakeholders, right? Especially in big enterprises, but many of them are not as important as they think and as we think. So the thing is, if we prioritize them, we can use like an interest, influence matrix and whatnot, figure out who are actually relevant to include in decision making. It's probably not the whole Senate, but just a couple of them.
Yeah,
and I know that in Sweden you like everyone to agree before you make a decision, all that, right?
Yeah.
Don't. Okay, just find a handful of people or two people, and
these guys couldn't agree either, right? So it's actually pretty fun to be a product owner, isn't it, Luxshan?
It's really fun to be a product owner, especially the discovery part.
Yeah.
Figuring out what new stuff to do, maybe with the UXer, finding out what the customer needs are.
Gazing into the stars, all that.
But sometimes product discovery looks like this. Then it's not that much fun being a product owner, right? So why talk to customers now? So the thing is, if you have to do a requirement specification, make it as high level as possible, right? Just making about a theme or a value stream. Don't figure out what it actually is that you need to deliver, right? We need to discover stuff as we get wiser. And if you discover something a year ago, it's probably not valid after a year, right? Yeah?
So let's try to help the PO as well, right?
Yeah.
So we can educate the non-technical POs on the consequences of technical debt, as we saw. And we can also allow the POs some time to think strategically and gaze into the stars.
Yeah, because the PO role is much about looking outwards towards competitors and similar products and whatnot, and also inwards towards the team. But they need time to think creatively as well, right?
And this is easy for us to say, right? But we should allow the POs to be the only CEO of the product.
There's only one CEO, and that's the CEO. But for the product, at least, empower the product owner. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you managers in the middle row there.
But let's more specifically, let's talk about scaling.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's in a scaled setup, like scaled agile framework, SAFe, or Nexus, or something like that? Who's working in that? Come on, admit it. Yeah. 3, 4 people. Yes, good. So it's basically where you have a team of teams and 2-day meetings and whatnot, where you plan. So this was how it was at Vestas. I was the release train engineer, which is like a chief scrum master, you could say. And then we have PI planning, which is this 2-day planning meetings for all the teams in the release train. Okay, so here I'm talking to managers. So PI planning is really great, Mikkel. It gets all the teams together, and we'll be able to map dependencies between the teams on a program board.
Oh, the program board. Yeah, so, hi, how's the planning going?
Well, pretty good. It's so great to align all the dependencies. We've been needing this overview for ages.
Oh, let me look at that overview.
So these
So
are
not much of an overview, right? But you've got a lot of dependencies, I can see.
we have all the teams on the left and the sprints on the top, and all the red lines are dependencies, right? So the thing is, when we start doing this scaled setup, we're going to have a lot of dependencies, especially to the external teams like the plant and the dustbin and the lamp. What we need to invest our time is on removing those dependencies, not just mapping them out and coordinating them, but actually removing them, right? Because if we remove the reason we have dependencies, we don't need all this overhead in scaling.
Let's move on. So, here's a manager asking the PO in this scale setup. So we need you to deliver the reporting feature as soon as possible.
Sure, I'll bring it up in our next sprint planning. So, sprint planning.
Great planning team, let's go at it.
Our stakeholders will be very happy that we can deliver the reporting functionality already this sprint. I'll go talk to the data warehouse team and ask them to make the needed changes. Therefore, dear data warehouse team, we need you to make those database changes so we can deliver our feature.
And then the PO in the data warehouse team says, yeah, our next PI planning is in 9 weeks. Come talk to us then.
So that's the thing, right? If you work in a scaled setup, you don't have to wait 9 weeks because you don't fill up your full capacity. So if you have these quarterly PI plannings, you don't fill up the capacity. You basically just make goals for that period of time, right? So you have wiggle room to help other teams that are dependent on you. Never fill up. 70%, 80% max.
So this is a diagram of a scale setup, right?
Anyone running Spotify model?
Oh,
I thought it was more popular here.
no.
Oh,
It's a Swedish company, right?
Anyone using Spotify?
Yeah. So this is a before picture of Spotify, right? Very structured and all that.
And then, after the transformation, it looks something like this.
Yeah.
Now we use fancy words like squad and tribe and chapter and...
Nothing really changed, right? No. So
Stop doing that.
might there be a way for us to help the scaled agile setup?
It's a music player. It's another way of working. Okay, cool. So there is. Let's hear how it is. So talk about this. If you're scaling, think of it as a temporary state. Right? It's right now we need the overhead to manage dependencies, but at some point we don't want to have these dependencies. Yeah. So it's a temporary state. Okay. Also, remove these dependencies. It could be through knowledge sharing. It could be re-architecting stuff. Right. There's Conway's law going on here. So let's figure out how we can remove dependencies. Let's have that talk. Not too many companies are even having that talk. They're just accepting, yeah, we have dependencies. Okay, it'll never go away. Yes, they can go away. And then continually assess the benefits of scaling. Do we still need to scale now that we don't have that many dependencies? Do we need a release train engineer, a product manager, and product owners? Do we need all of these roles? Make it as lean as possible, right? Ideally, we just want teams running autonomously, but in enterprises, of course, they're dependent, but they don't have to be that dependent. So when are we done with all this agile?
Yeah, so the manager, of course, want to know, when can we consider our agile transformation done?
Well, Mikkel, that's difficult to say because we're never really finished. Our teams and organization will continuously be improving themselves, and
I'm sure you can figure out a way to answer this question, and it needs to be backed by data.
Yes, so a little bit later, we're back. So, Mikkel, we think that our agile transformation can be considered a success when...
Yeah, don't worry about it. I figured out when it's done.
Oh, really? When?
When the transformation budget runs out.
Okay, then we're agile. Okay?
Yeah.
So have a think about it. For instance, looking at your lead time. So how long does it take for you to generate an idea to it's actually delivered and used by an end user? Have that as an indicator of when you're good enough. How many changes can you adopt while you started? Have a talk about what it actually means to work agile. It's a method. It's a tool to work agile, right? It's not a goal in itself.
Yeah, and I know you're thinking about one thing right now. Are we ever done with this talk? We've got 3 slides left. So remember that using Scrum to become agile,
it's a bit like using a scale to lose weight, right? So I tried that, and obviously it didn't work that well. And so the thing is, this is just going to show you how it's looking, right? So running Scrum is just going to show you how many dependencies you have to all the other teams and so on. It's removing the dependencies that's going to really enable agility. Over here, I guess it's changing the eating habits and exercise. I don't know. That's what's going to really change stuff, right? So just using a method is not going to change you. It's going to show you where you need to change. Yeah?
Let's sum up. So the key to a successful agile transformation is to talk and articulate what goes wrong. And we should motivate our developers to help making this agile journey pragmatic and relevant.
Yeah, it's become such a process thing, right? It started with 17 software developers making the Agile Manifesto, but for some reason now it's become such a process thing. Right, let's get it back to developers.
And a successful agile transformation will mean that we have fewer meetings and more time for coding, and as a result, happier end users.
And of course you'll make mistakes, right? What we do is trying to make fun of the mistakes that we've experienced on our agile journeys. So maybe you could do something similar. You don't have to make comic strips. You can sing about it.
You can dance about it.
You can make a play, whatever. Just talk about your mistakes in a fun way so you can actually address them and fix them. I think that was it. We have some, we have books. Come on, Christmas gift, buy them. And then we also do like workshops where we teach people to use humor. It's not a drawing workshop, but it's a storytelling workshop. But if you can draw, it's very good. So we can teach you to do some of this stuff.
And the books, they are on sale right now, so yeah. Perfect time for Christmas.
Thank you for your attention. Do we have time for questions? No time for questions.
No, the sandwich is right outside, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.